remember the feeling, the thing they totori. And you tell me, say my pikin when you need me, make you dey call on me. Say, it's not my confidence. Every time I call you overconfident. I no need to come up from you, your device. And I go taste that in the tapa. You know they do forecasting. Everything I want, I order. Everything nice and smooth. You let it drop out. You know they do forecasting. Everything I want, I order. Everything nice and smooth. You be like it drop out. You got the whole world in your hands. Put it past you, we know day. You got the whole world in your hands. Come and do. You got the whole world in your hands. Put it past you, we know day. You got the whole world in your hands. Come and do.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome. We're very happy to have you here. Welcome to Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad's monthly mental health training. We're very happy to have you here. Before we begin this meeting, I want you to let us know your name and where you're joining in from in the chat box. I want to see you comment in the chat box. Let us know your name and where you're joining in from. Welcome everyone.
Now you make a favor, follow me. You make a blessing, contain up my door. And if I want to go,
Welcome. Let us know your name and where you're joining in from. Wow. Welcome, Bukola. We're very happy to have you here, all the way from Abuja. Welcome, Joy. Thank you for joining us, all the way from Abuja. Onifelua, welcome. We're very happy to have you here. Welcome. We're very happy to have you here. Welcome, Twin. Welcome, Fumilayo. We're so happy to have you here. Before we begin the program, we would like to start with the opening prayer. Let's just say a short prayer before we start. In Jesus' name, we thank you, Lord, for this gathering. We thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to be here today. We thank you, Lord, that we are going to have good knowledge. We are going to gain wisdom and understanding from this. And we pray, Lord, that every information, every insight that we get from this will be relevant and will be useful to us in the mighty name of Jesus. Welcome. We're very happy to have you here. We're happy to have you here. Please, I need to see the energy in the chat box. Welcome, Adora. We're happy to have you here. That's a very beautiful name. We're happy to have you here. Welcome. Let me know how you're feeling. Welcome. Well, before we start, my name is Ikeoluwa Rubanjo, and I'll be your host for this event. You're welcome to the Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad monthly mental health training. And this is the mental health training for the month of November. And we have a very, very interesting and exciting topic for you. I can't wait to I can't wait to gain a lot of knowledge from it. The topic is postpartum and postnatal depression. This is a very, very interesting topic. It's extremely relevant in today's world. So thank you. I need you to introduce yourself. If you're just joining in, welcome. Welcome, Bright from River State. Welcome. I need to see you. I want to know you. I want to know where you're joining us from. Welcome, everyone. Okay, Balkis from Lagos. We're very happy to have you here. We're very happy to have you here. Thank you. And I'm also joining in from Lagos State as well. Okay, we have a lot planned for you today. So you just have to relax, take your, whether it's your jotter or your notepad or anything that you're using to take notes, just get it together because there's a lot of knowledge and wisdom that you're going to get today, and you don't want to miss anything from it. Welcome, Daniel Rejoice from Ogun State. Welcome, Rejoice from Ogun State. Thank you for joining in. Thank you so much for joining in. We're very happy to have you here.
This year, blessing, money, testimony. Go to follow you they go. This year, good news, giant plenty bonding. Go to follow
Welcome,
you they
Kishi
go.
Obideli Iteoluwa
Everything I've been
Kishi
wanting,
from
manifesting
Lagos.
for my life. Everything you've been wanting, manifesting for your
We're happy to
life.
have you here.
Before you call, you don't answer prayer. My papa is too shy, you don't fit for your hand. Even before you call, you don't answer prayer. My papa is too shy.
Welcome, Shem from Lagos. Wow, all the way from Akwa Ibom. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us.
This year, blessing, money, testimony. Go to
Let me know how
follow
you're
you.
feeling in the chat box. Use an emoji to just show me your emotions in the chat box as well. Oh, Jeremiah is happy. Okay, I can see that we are excited and we can't wait to get more knowledge. Okay, we have a lot for you too. Don't worry. We have a lot for you as well.
This year, blessing, money, testimony.
Welcome once
Go to
again if you're just joining us.
follow you they go. This year, good news, giant plenty bonding. Go to
Welcome. Okay, okay,
follow. Everything I've been wanting, manifesting from my life. Everything you've been wanting,
okay. We're
manifesting
so
for
happy
your
to have you.
life. Even before you call, you don't answer prayer. My papa is too shy, you don't fit for your hand. Even before you call, you don't answer prayer. My papa is too shy,
We're
for
so happy
your
to have you today.
This year,
Yes.
blessing, only testimony. Go to follow you they go. This year, good news, giant plenty bonding. Go to follow you they
If you're
go.
just joining us, let us know your name and where you're joining in from. Okay. We're happy that you decided to honor our invitation.
I am loved,
Thank you for
I
joining.
am loved, I am loved by God. Jesus, I am loved, I am loved, I am loved by you. Hey, 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 I am loved, I am loved, I am loved by God. Jesus, I am loved, I am loved, I am loved by you. That's my my name, that's my name, that's my name, always my name, that's my name, that's my name, that's my name, that's my name. And so the mountains must get out of my way. By you they crash and fall and become like nothing before me. For I know they're nothing before you.
If you're just joining in, let us know your name and where you're joining us from, okay? We're happy to have you here. Let us know your name and where you're joining from.
They're nothing before you. Oh, Femi, oh, Femi, oh, Femi, oh, Femi, oh, Femi, oh. Oh, Femi, oh, Femi, oh, Femi, oh, Femi, oh, Femi, oh. Now only you be fit to come down from the heavenly of the heavenlies to die for me. Only you be fit to go down to
Welcome,
depths
Ejiro.
to rescue me.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome, Shegun Olaleye.
Mountain high, no valley low. Nothing will separate me from your love.
We're happy to have you here.
You there with me, I'm not alone. You never fail.
Let us know your name and where you're joining from if you're just joining us.
I know they're nothing
We're
before.
very happy to have you here.
I tell the mountains to get out of my way. They must fall, they fall and become like nothing before me. For I know they're nothing before you.
Welcome, Moses, all the way from Delta State. Wow. Thank you so much for joining us.
I am loved by
Thank you
God.
for joining us. We're
Jesus,
happy to
I am
have
loved.
you.
I am loved. I am loved by
Thank you
you.
for
That's
joining
my name.
us.
That's my name. That's my name. Always my name. That's my name. That's my name. That's my name. That's my name. That's
Welcome.
my name. That's my name. Always my name. That's 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 my name. Always my name. That's my name. That's my name. That's my name. Always my name. That's my name. That's my name.
Welcome, Rejoice. Welcome, Rejoice from Port Harcourt. We're happy to have you. We're happy to have you. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. We're so happy to have you. So before we're about to go right into the program now. So I will be inviting our speaker. I want to see the energy in the chat box. Okay. Before I introduce the speaker, I want you to I want you to I want you to use the clapping emoji. You see it in your reactions. Use the clapping emoji to welcome our speaker. She's going to be taking us on the topic postnatal and postpartum depression. Make sure you have your pens, your paper, your jotter, notepads, anything that you use to take notes. She is the team lead of the mental health training department. Join me in giving a warm welcome to Elizabeth Shem Paydock. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Ike. Good
Hi,
afternoon, everyone.
Elizabeth. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you? How's it going? Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing
Everything is
well.
going fine.
Okay, my name is Elizabeth, and I'm the team lead for the mental health training department. And at this point, I'm sent because we just received a message that her phone was stolen. So I might have to step into her shoes and do what I can. So what is postpartum depression? Postpartum depression is a serious mental illness that involves a brain that affects your behavior and physical health. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be sharing slides because we did not work on that. So it's a depression that is commonly found among women that have had babies that or have just had a baby, and they go through this kind of some people call it baby blues, but baby blues is kind of common with people until when it exceeds to postpartum depression. So who are the people that are most likely to have this depression? Like I said, there are women that just had babies. So pardon me. So I'm going to start. Get your pen and paper while we just run this. So postpartum depression is a condition that some new parents experience after giving birth. It's usually challenging because it's a time that women experience hormonal changes, sleep deprivation. You would agree with me if you've had a baby that one of the problems women have is lack of sleep. And for some people, especially for first time mothers, it's something that they have not experienced before, so they struggle with adjusting to parenthood, and it can take a huge toll on their mental health. So what are some of these symptoms of postpartum depression? Some of these symptoms include feelings of sadness, anxiety, irritability, changes in appetite, and difficulty bonding with the baby. So you get up sometimes and you just feel you're sad for no reason. You just feel that feeling of sadness. It's not like you're not happy about the baby, but for some people, they feel they are not giving the baby enough, maybe enough attention, and they begin to feel sad. For some people, honestly, they feel like the baby is like limiting them. They can't really do the things they need to do, and for some people, they find it difficult eating. We have some women that after having babies, they don't have a problem with appetite, but for some, they have a problem eating. And of course, especially if they are breastfeeding, it causes like the baby will not get enough food while they are not eating enough food. So it's very important to recognize these signs and seek support from healthcare providers, therapists, or support groups. So that's why for women that have babies, if you just had a baby, before you give birth to the baby, you go for antenatal, right? You go for antenatal, they check the baby, how the baby is doing, how the baby, if the baby is growing well, if the baby is not growing well, if the baby is positioned well, and all of that. They check all of that. That's the postnatal. Then postnatal, antenatal, sorry. Then post is after you have had a baby, you are required to get back to the hospital so that they keep checking and supporting you. That is when you tell them when you're experiencing some of these symptoms, like the sadness, anxiety, difficulty in bonding with the baby, and all of that. Even the lack of sleep. And most times you might require medication for it. Then some treatment options though could be of course therapy. When you go to the hospital, they give you therapy, medication, and they try to tell you or suggest self-care practices that you could do to help you. And one very, very important one that people don't realize is building a strong support system. I remember one time my friend's in-law had a baby and she was struggling with, I just knew that she was going through postpartum depression. So, and I told her that I tried to ask her questions. Is the husband always there? Maybe at night when, maybe after feeding the baby, does he help her hold the baby so that she would have at least some sleep before the baby begins to look for food again and all of that. And she told me that the husband doesn't do that. And I told her, okay, why don't you advise him to help him with that? And he began to do that. After a while, she came back and was like, she was so thankful. And, and if she had gone to the hospital, I think it would have helped. So she came and all she needed was that support when she's maybe like, if the baby is sleeping or the baby is awake and the baby has eaten, someone should like help her to cool the baby so that she will catch some sleep. Then for postpartum depression, I remember when I had my baby, I struggled with that in the beginning. Especially, I know for first time moms, it's usually hard because you just had your baby. And I think for us in Africa or in Nigeria, we don't take these things seriously. So we struggle with these things a lot. When you find out that you're the only one taking care of your baby. And in Nigeria, some people, if you go, you're trying to even help them carry the baby. They don't want you to touch their baby. And at the end of the day, these things build up because she's stressed from feeding the baby. She's stressed from trying to sleep. She's stressed from doing like different stuff for the baby. She's bathing the baby. She's the one feeding the baby. She's the one putting the baby to sleep and all of that. So yeah. So for postpartum depression, it's something that if it is managed well, it can go a long way to help people. And for some, if it is not managed well, it becomes extreme or it grows to be something more serious. For some, they experience this postpartum depression and it's just there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's gone. But for some, it continues for maybe like a year, and it will have to take them like going to the hospital and taking medication for a long time. And it's usually advisable that when you have your baby, as much as possible, you try and always see the doctor so that the doctor will always advise you on what to do. So basically, those are the major things for postpartum depression. And postpartum, postnatal, I would say like they're the same. Postpartum, postnatal, postpartum, postnatal. So they're just posts. The post that for some people, if they are not careful, that depression begins to weigh on their child begins to face neglect, their child begins to um their child begins to not eat well. Your baby will begin to look like sick because the baby is not feeding well. The baby doesn't have that bond with the mom. I've seen people that go through postpartum depression and they are already imagining killing their child. And it doesn't make them a bad person. If you have thought like that, sometimes it doesn't make you a bad person at all. It's just part of um, how um, how these things are. And basically it just has to do with the hormones of the women. So the postpartum depression, it affects up to like 15% of people. So it's possible that you find yourself among those 15% of people, and you experience emotional highs and lows. Sometimes you're crying, sometimes you're fatigued, sometimes you feel guilt, sometimes you feel anxiety, and you have just trouble taking care of your child. And for some people, they begin to feel that, oh, maybe spiritual, or maybe you're a bad person. No, all you need to do is just calm down, calm down, and just try to find support. And most importantly, you go to the doctor. There are some key things that I would like you people to note, and they are the types of postpartum depression. We have the postpartum blues and baby blues. So those are the early stages ones. You call them the baby blues. They affect almost everybody. It affects between 50 to 75% of people after delivery. So if you've had a baby before, it's likely that you have gone through those baby blues. And even if you're not experiencing the baby blues, you will have frequent prolonged bouts of crying for no apparent reason. You just find yourself, you sit down and you're just crying. Why are you crying? The tears are just flowing. Why are you crying? You don't know why you're crying. You get? So it's just part of it. And it begins most times in the first week. It begins between the first day that you've had your baby to 4 days after delivery. Although the experience is unpleasant, it usually subsides after 2 weeks, 2 weeks without even treatment. It just goes on its own. You don't really need to go to the doctor and all of that. But for baby blues, the best way is when you have support from your family and friends, and that one, it helps you come out of it easily. Then we have the postpartum depression itself. It's far more serious. The postpartum depression is far more serious than the baby blues, and it affects about one in 7 new parents. So if you've had postpartum depression before, your risk increases to 30% each pregnancy. That means anytime you're pregnant, you will have it. As in, if you've had it before, it's likely that you're going to have it after or in subsequent pregnancies, or when you have your baby. So for postpartum depression, you would experience alternating highs and lows too, just like the baby blues. You cry frequently, is the baby blues too, irritability and fatigue, and you have this feeling of guilt. And these symptoms may range from mild to severe and may appear within a week of delivery or gradually, even up to a year later. Although symptoms can last several months, but treatment and psychotherapy is when you go to find help, is usually effective. Then we have the one that I call postpartum psychosis. So this postpartum psychosis is extremely severe. It's a severe form of postpartum depression, and it requires emergency medical attention. And it's relatively rare. You hardly see it around, but of course, this one is even if you see it around, it happens only in only 1 in 1,000 people after delivery. So the symptoms usually occur quickly after delivery and are severe, lasting for a few weeks or to several months. Symptoms include severe agitation, confusion, feelings of hopelessness and shame, insomnia, paranoia, delusions, hallucinations. Have you seen a woman that just had a baby and she's hallucinating? You'll be wondering, why is she talking like that? Why is she acting like that? She just acts like she's mentally unstable. She can be hyperactive, rapid speech, you know, and this condition requires immediate medical attention since there is an increased risk of for this postpartum psychosis. This mother she could be at the risk of committing suicide, or she's at the risk of even harming her baby. So you have to quickly get help for her so that she'll go into the hospital and get medication. I hope I'm not too fast. I don't know. I hope can you
No,
all
you're
hear
not
me
too
though?
fast. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, we're going well, right? Okay.
Yes,
So
we are.
yes, so for postpartum depression, as many as 75% of people experience baby blues, like I said, after delivery. Then up to 15% of these people will develop postpartum depression. 1 in 1,000 develop postpartum psychosis. So someone might be asking, how do I know if I have baby blues or postpartum depression? If you noticed, some of the symptoms for baby blues, I mentioned them for postpartum depression, right? So many people have baby blues after giving birth. So I think almost everyone that has had a baby has experienced that baby blue, and they have similar symptoms. But baby blues max 10 days, it goes away. So you may have baby blues if, like I said again, when you find yourself, you have crying spells that you're always crying, always crying. Like say then give throw spell on you, you're just always crying. And sometimes you don't have a reason for crying. You just feel tired and you're crying. You feel overwhelmed. You don't want to eat. You don't feel like eating. Not like you don't want to eat, but you don't feel like eating. You have trouble sleeping. And I need everyone to remember to know that once you go through these things, it's not that you are a bad person, and it's not a shameful thing to discuss with people around you and try to find help. So I want to tell us some of the factors that increase the risk of being depressed after the birth of your child. And the certain factors increase your risk for postpartum depression. So that means there are things that you can do that will reduce your risk for postpartum depression. So having a personal or family history of depression, we have people that they have family history of depression in their family, or some of them, you find out that everyone that has had a baby in the family has postpartum depression. Or if you have what they call premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So these are some of the things that can increase your risk of being depressed after childbirth. Then limited social support. When you have limited social support, it can increase your it can increase your risk of being depressed after a baby. I watched a video yesterday. I remember there's this food blogger that had a baby, and she shared how she shared the news when she got pregnant with her friends and family, and you need to see their reactions, and what that would do for her. It only shows that she already has that support she would have needed even after having the baby. You get, it just does something to her mind. She knows that, okay, when my child comes, I know that this person will be here for me. So that one helps her to have this peace of mind. It doesn't, she's not stressed that something is going to happen to her or with her baby, you know. And for some, it's marital or relationship conflict. Like if you're married and you're always having fights in your marriage or in your relationship, and you're pregnant, you're having fights, you know. And for some, if they have like, there are some people, once they get pregnant, they have like health conditions, they have complications. There are some people, once they get pregnant, they are in bed until maybe they have the baby. So that one too increases your risk of being depressed when you have a baby. And this may sound funny, but if you're if someone is very young, you get pregnant and you're very young, let's say you're younger than 20, go into depression after you have a baby, because of course people feel that maybe at that age you're not very matured mentally and even physically to like mother a child, and except if you have like total support to help you. And if you're a single parent, of course, if you're a single parent and you have your child alone, you can imagine how it's going to be stressful for you. You get. And for some, again, maybe when they have a child, or maybe before they have the child already, the doctor has checked and said, this baby looks like the baby is going to be like a special needs, you know, the baby already has some form of deformity. So already your mind is already prepared that, oh, you know, I'm in for it, and that one could cause you depression. And another one is if you have a baby that cries a lot, that one too can increase, because you know babies cannot really talk. Babies cannot really talk, but they will keep on crying. They will keep on just crying for. And if you've had a baby that cries a lot, you understand. You know, there you see there are some babies that they would say, this one likes to cry too much. This one is always crying. This one is always crying. Ike, please, am I doing well with time? Please just let me know if I've exceeded my time, please. So I'll just quickly run through some of the symptoms again. I'm repeating these things so that for the benefit of those that joined late, or for the benefit of those that are just joining, or for the benefit of those that were not really able to write or note down stuff. If you're feeling sad, worthless, hopeless, or guilty, worrying excessively or feeling on edge, loss of interest in hobbies or things you once enjoyed, changes in appetite and not eating, loss of energy and motivation, trouble sleeping and wanting to sleep all the time. You see, there are two ways. There are some, you find them, they have trouble sleeping, and for some, they are always sleeping. Sleeping too much self is a problem on its own. You get. Then the crying, the difficulty thinking or focusing, thoughts of suicide and wishing you were dead, lack of interest in your baby and feeling anxious around your baby, thoughts of hurting your baby and feeling like you don't want your baby. So all these things, they're all symptoms of postpartum depression. And please, if you notice that you have these symptoms, please find help. Don't just sit down and conclude, okay, this is what I'm going through. Let me go to the pharmacy and get these drugs for postpartum, you know, depression and all of that. Please go to the hospital. That's why there's always provision for postnatal, we call it postnatal care after you have your baby. So you have to go to the hospital so that you can even differentiate when you're having baby, whether it's baby blues that you're having or you're actually having the postpartum depression. So someone might ask, can postpartum depression affect my baby? Like I said earlier, yes, it can affect your baby. That's why getting treatment is very important. It will affect your baby if you don't get help. because you have trouble, of course, bonding with your baby. Your child may have behavior or learning problems. That means you're not there to bond with your child or teach your child what you're supposed to teach your child, and all of that, and which is not good. And you may even skip appointments. There are some people, once they start experiencing this postpartum depression, they tend to neglect the child. Of course, when you have your child, you're supposed to go for immunization, take them to the pediatrician to check if the baby is doing well, and the baby might not be able to get this care they need. That's the appointment they are supposed to get to the pediatrician. You don't get to do all of those things because you totally don't even feel like doing anything for the baby. And you may have feeding and sleeping issues, and your child may be at higher risk of obesity or developmental disorders. That means your child would not eat right. And if your child doesn't eat right, the child naturally has becomes obese, and the development of the child's brain, of course, because you're not feeding the baby with the right nutrients, the baby will have like different disorders even before they even like grow older. And so the diagnosis and test, how is postpartum depression diagnosed? There's no specific way, or there's no specific test. You don't go to the hospital and they tell you that, okay, let me take your blood. Let me take your blood to know whether you're depressed. No, the only way they know it is when you visit and discuss with the medical or the health provider, the healthcare provider, and that is when they find out, after you tell them the symptoms and all of that. That is how they find out if you are depressed or you're just going through baby blues. And there's something that they call depression screening, though. I've never done it. I don't know if they do it in our hospitals here, but there's a depression screening, and it's just to find out if you're truly going through depression. But there are some general questions that they will ask you, and by asking that, they would know what to do or what to recommend for you. So what are some of the treatments for postpartum depression? They are treated in different ways depending on the type of or the severity of your symptoms. So for some, they get anti-anxiety or antidepressant medicines, psychotherapy, of course, talk therapy, and cognitive behavioral therapy, which we all know it's done for people that are going through depression generally. Then for treatment of the psychosis is, of course, the medication and to treat the depression and the anxiety. And for the postpartum psychosis, for some of them, they have to be admitted in the hospital for a while. That's if you're not responding to the treatment, they might have to take you in and watch you so that they will ensure that you are able to come out from how you're feeling. And for some people, they feel that if they are breastfeeding, they feel they don't need to take medicine for depression and all of that. But as long as you talk to your doctor and he says it's okay, I think it's okay. It will be okay for you to like take it. Then you can take it just to take care of yourself. And you need to understand that it's very important to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself at that point, it's going to affect your baby. So it's very important. Antenatal care, very important. There are some people you meet, they have 6 months, 7 months, and they don't even go to the hospital. I was in one community recently, and I asked the husband, have you had any contact with any public health service provider? And he said no. And he told me that his wife just had a baby, and I asked him, how did she have the baby? That she had the baby at home. And I'm like, she had a baby at home. Who took care of her? He said someone came and they did everything that they need to do at home. I know it's very common, especially in the north here. I don't know about other places. They like to have their babies at home, and at the end of the day, even if the woman is going through depression, the child is going through any disorders, they don't find out until when it's late. I think that will be all for now. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. That was so, so interesting. I don't know about you, but I'm having fun. I'm having so much fun. I've learned so much today. This is actually the first time that I'm hearing about baby blues. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. But thank you so much, Elizabeth. I'm sending you a virtual hug.
Thank you.
In the
Thank
chat
you.
box, everyone, let me know how you're feeling after this, after Elizabeth's talk. Thank you so much, Ma. Let's also encourage her with a round of applause as well. Thank you so much. So now I know that you must have
Thank
like
you.
burning questions. You must have a lot of questions. So Elizabeth, I'm sure you're ready to answer their questions.
Hopefully,
I'm sure
hopefully,
Elizabeth is.
hopefully.
I'm sure you're ready to answer. So if you have any
Yeah.
questions at all, feel free to raise up your hand and Elizabeth will take it. But if you're shy and you don't want to talk, then you can leave your question in the chat box. But Elizabeth, I have a question for you first. Can I go?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yes. So you mentioned that in Africa, especially somewhere like Nigeria, we don't take this kind of thing seriously. I mean, there's still not as much as people are becoming more aware of mental health issues, there's still not so much awareness on this particular thing. Especially, there's a lot of condemnation
Yeah.
by women and all of that. So I think it will make a woman to not want to seek help or maybe from family or whatever. How would you advise that new parents should seek help from this postpartum depression?
Okay. Like I mentioned, I think the most important thing is, I said it is for you to be able to freely talk about these things. It's not something to be ashamed of.
Yes,
So you speak about when you're around people. Like for me, if I meet anyone that just had a baby or she's pregnant, and I'm like, I don't just tell her, how are you? I'll tell her, how are you feeling? How are you coping? You get? And she
yeah.
begins to like, you know, tell me, these are all your questions. But um for me, in the hospitals they provide this postpartum or postnatal care. So once you have your baby, it's not enough for you to just go home and stay. You get? And it's not only when you begin
Yeah.
to experience symptoms that you need to go for your postpartum um, care or your postnatal care. You get? Make sure you take your baby or you go to the hospital.
Elizabeth, oh, I think her network is bad. But please keep your questions coming in. I'm sure that when a network comes back on, she'll definitely answer your questions. We'd like to hear your questions. Keep your questions coming. Don't worry, we're going to answer everything. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. My network went off. I'm so
Yes,
sorry
yes,
about
sir.
that.
Welcome back.
Yeah, no, this thing. So I don't know. I hope
Yeah.
I'm answering the question though. Um,
Yes.
So if you, most importantly, you find someone to talk about it. And of course, for us that are in the mental health field, you know that for some people, for them to be able to, talk about stuff, it just goes a long way. If you notice that while I was talking, I talked about talk therapy. Talk therapy for me is
Yes.
usually the most powerful one. If someone is just able to tell you, this is how I'm feeling, and the person understands that I'm just there to support you. Mental health, whatever is anything mental health has to do with your mind. If you can actually adjust your mind, it will go a long way. And for some people, they might need a support group. You find group of new parents to support you. You guys should have a support group, and
Yes.
you talk about stuff, what they are doing, what you're doing, and all of that. Most importantly, try to eat healthy, and exercise should not be it shouldn't be overemphasized, because I know for some people they give birth through CS, but at least just try and do some little exercise it sorry, I'm talking too fast. Exercise it at home.
Yes. Thank you very much,
So
Elizabeth.
yeah,
So we're going to
yeah.
start with those that are raising their hands. So
Okay.
Ejiro Ogumo. Okay. So you can ask your question, Ejiro.
Hi, good afternoon, Elizabeth. Good afternoon,
Good
everybody.
afternoon. Hi.
So I'm asking a question from experience actually because I've had my second baby now, and I've actually suffered from postpartum depression twice. You
Okay.
mentioned something about going to the hospital,
Yeah.
and I don't know what that looks like because to be honest, when you go, most GPs are clueless. So I'm
Okay.
wondering how or who we're actually supposed to see, or if it's a special doctor. Even last time I had a baby in December last year.
Okay.
The last time when I even went in, the GP was maybe a little bit exposed, so she was like, "Oh, okay, she listened and everything." But the hospital did not have anybody. They had to now refer me somewhere. And
Wow.
when I went to the next place, they told me, "Oh, the doctor that will see is now available." They have to refer me to another place. I did not see anybody. So it feels like maybe that might not work in Nigeria, like walking in.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there are other ways that someone can actually just stand up
was
walk
it a
into.
private hospital?
It was even a very good private hospital.
Yeah. Funny enough, as funny as it may sound, I noticed that the public hospitals, they have more experience when it comes to these things than the private hospitals. I think for the general hospital or the public hospitals, they usually have women that are, they study to be midwives. They study to be midwives, and so when you go to a general hospital, you're most likely to find help there. I've noticed that too. Private hospital, I don't know. They don't usually give us that all the time. But this is something they need to work on. And guess what? I remember when I first had my first daughter, I had her in a public hospital, government hospital, and I had all the, I had all the knowledge. Even when I was going for my antenatal, I had like prior knowledge. After I had the baby, I was going for my postnatal care, postnatal care and all of that, and I had all of those informations. But and when I had subsequent ones, the last two, I know I had them in a private hospital, but honestly, I would tell you that I enjoyed, you know, the first pregnancy more than the rest, because it was just that when I had the first, I had all the knowledge, so it was easier for me to like navigate through that. But I would not tell you to go to general hospital because I know that sometimes people feel that they are not very, but I would tell you that experience wise, I think they have more experienced hands in general hospitals, honestly. So I don't
Yes.
know. I think if it's not so severe, you might just try to manage it. Just try to manage it at home, or you try, and if you go online now, you find people that are I know somebody that is I think she's a postnatal or she's a therapist for women that are having babies or just had babies. So I think if you go online, maybe there are people that you can just find their numbers and speak with them. Yeah. But we should begin to advocate for these things to be taken seriously. All hospitals should be able to provide these services for everyone. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I hope you're satisfied with my answer though.
Okay.
Is that okay,
So
Jiro?
I think she's off. Okay, let's go to Fumilayo. Fumilayo, you can ask your question as well. Fumilayo.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good
Thank
evening.
you for a wonderful session, Elizabeth. So my question is kind of from the angle of the child now. We know that in this part of the world and even in advanced country where they have information, talking about postpartum depression is kind of sensitive to women because they feel like you are trying to attack them. Maybe they are not being woman enough, they are not a good mother and stuff like that. So even you as a person, you notice the symptoms and you try to tell them, they will attack you. So first question, how do you approach the subject of you need help, get help? The second part is some people who are experiencing postpartum depression, they don't like people don't notice it, like maybe their family or friends, like for example a person that is a full housewife and the husband goes to work and comes back very late, like there's little like they can observe, and maybe the thing lingers to the extent that maybe the woman end up harming the child or abandoning the child. Because there was a film I watched and I've seen some of these cases happen like that, that because of the depression after so many years they can't take it, then they end up abandoning the child. How do you explain to the child that your mom can't just help it? How do you try to explain it to the child to stop blaming or hating the parent, the mother? Or who is to be blamed there? Is it the mother that didn't go to get help? But you know, sometimes these people are helpless and don't know how to get help or have the motivation to get help. Then now the third question I want to ask is, a mother that had complication as a result of birth, how do you, and you don't even know if she will ever still be okay, how do you try to push her to bond with the child and not see the child as a problem and the source of it? Now there's a case I experienced. The woman, as a result of the birth, she became paralyzed from the neck downward. Since she gave birth to a child, she has not carried the child. She didn't even have money to go to hospital for further treatment. So by the time they came to social media and they start to raise money for her, she started treatment and physical therapy. She was able to sit up, but she never carried the child. Like, I was like, the kind of hate the mother had for that child, like it's not the child's fault. How do you reconcile that? How do you advise the mother? Do you have to wait till maybe she can walk back and use her arm before you start pushing, like for her to bond with the child or stop hating the child, or what? Or you push it at the instant? So those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay. So the one I can remember, the second one first. It's if a mother neglects her child because she's going through postpartum depression, it's not the mother's fault, it's not the child's fault. You get, that's why we ask people to try and get help. And where do you come in as a friend or a relative? Or also, I know, of course, you're a listener. You might have to just find a way. You're a counselor, of course. You have to find a way to talk to her to get help, because if you don't get help, I don't think there's any other way around it. You need to get help, so that you will be able um to do the right thing. So you have to find a way to speak to the mother, speak to her in a way that she would get, because for some, some of these cases now, they might need medication and maybe see a therapist to be able to pass through that stage they are going through. The first question, can you repeat that again? I don't remember again. Was it Titilayo that spoke? Sorry.
Okay. No, that was from Fumilayo.
Fumilayo, sorry.
Okay.
What was the first question again?
Okay, the first question was actually talking about like in the case where the mom like abandoned the child as a result of the postpartum depression, like how do you reconcile the relationship between the mother and the child? Like definitely the child will hate the mom and all that. Like how do you try to convince the child like your mom can't help it and probably just forgive the mom, or you should just like blame the mom too with the child, or I don't know.
What I would just say is that knowledge is power. We're here today because we're learning, and as I'm speaking to everyone is speaking, I'm learning, and I believe that if someone has a knowledge about, or the knowledge about something, I think it will go a long way. If the child is able to understand that, okay, your mom did this, but she did this because she went through this thing and she went through this depression, and that was why she neglected you. I think that should help. I think that should help. It all boils down to having an understanding of, because I don't think a child would know that, okay, my mom did this because it's like a child now. I saw something recently that broke my heart. A guy's father went to steal, and they called his son, they caught the father, and they called the son to come and like see his dad. If you see the way he, immediately he came in, I'm sure he understood that maybe his dad went to steal, maybe to bring food to the house. Stealing is not good, don't get me wrong. But the way he came with that understanding that, okay, his dad did not do this because, he wanted to. So he came and stood by his father and was trying to, negotiate and beg the people for the dad. So I believe that if people understand that, okay, this person did this because it's not like she did it because she knew what she was doing. She just had a medical condition. I think it will really go a long way. And it's the same thing for a mother that neglected her child because she had paralysis or something because of the child. If she can understand that, okay, it is not the child's fault, I think it will go a long way too.
So how do you push her to bond with the child in
Is it
such
about
case?
pushing? It's about talking.
She's
You talk to her in a way she would understand. You talk to her in a way she will understand.
Physically okay, or
do you know when she will be physically okay? We
know.
don't know. So I think the work, it's a gradual thing. Maybe the work should start. I'm a Christian, and the Bible says it says something about hearing and hearing the word of God. It's just trying to tell us that when you consistently hear something and hear it, it has a way of, dwelling or finding somewhere in your heart. You don't have to wait. You have to maybe begin to, speak to the person in a way that the person would see and understand.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope that
Ike, your network is bad.
Thank you. So, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay. I said before we take any more questions from those with their hands up, there are some questions from people in the chat box. So the first question is, do people actually recover from this postpartum cycle?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
That's the first question, postpartum depression. Okay,
she said,
the first question is, do people actually recover?
Sorry?
Actually recover from postpartum psychosis after treatment?
Okay. And what's the other question?
Yeah, this other question is, what are the ways to prevent postpartum depression?
Okay, okay. Um, People, that's why I said earlier that the postpartum psychosis is, of course, is treatable. People recover, but it takes a longer, it takes a longer time than the normal, depression. So if you're able to submit yourself and get the medication and everything you need, yeah, you should be able to recover.
Okay. Then the second
So
question is, what are the ways to prevent postpartum depression?
to prevent,
Yes,
okay,
postpartum depression.
okay. Postpartum depression, I would say that it isn't entirely preventable because, of course, I think for it's something that God put in us, our hormones and everything. It's not entirely preventable, but is one thing is that if you know the warning signs of the condition and what factors can increase your risk, it will help you. You get, so some of the ways I
Yeah.
would say is be realistic about your expectations for yourself and your baby, and being realistic is, don't be too, there are some expectations that are not realistic. Let's say, for example, when I have my baby, I'm going to, what is something that is not realistic? When I have my baby, I'm going to get back to work in 1 week. You get? If
Yeah.
you're realistic, because when babies come, you don't know what to expect. You get? So just be realistic about your expectations. Don't be too, just be, don't be unrealistic, be realistic. Then when you first go home, as much as possible, especially in Africa, the whole world, especially if it's first grandchild. Hey, the day I had my first baby, if you had seen the hospital, you would think that, if from the hospital, you would think that it was one queen that was born. The place was filled up, and when I came home too, and it's not too good because it doesn't let you rest, it doesn't let your baby rest. You try and limit visitors as much as possible. Very close people that are going to help you should be around the baby. It's not a bad thing when you try to limit, at least for the first few days. And when, as much
Yeah.
as possible, ask for help. If you know that you need to sleep, tell someone, help me hold the baby. Your husband can help you hold the baby. I know most times when we have babies here, our mother-in-laws come or our mothers come. Ask for help so that let others help you. Try and sleep when your baby is as much as once your baby closes eye like this, you to try and sleep. These are some of the ways to prevent it. Exercise cannot be overemphasized. I always say it. Just try and take a walk. You don't have to run, and at least once in a while, try and get out and get some fresh air. And again, even as much as you limit your visitors, but don't isolate yourself. Try and be around people that make you happy, your family and friends. There's some family and friends that don't make you happy. I'm not talking about those ones. There's some that are being around you, they make you happy, and try and foster your relationship. For some people, once they have babies, they just neglect their partner. You need to do it together, but sometimes teach him, okay, we're bathing baby today, come and do it. You bath the baby today. Just as you're doing that, you're bonding and you're having time for each other, building your relationship. That way, there'll be this kind of, the atmosphere will be very lovely and nice for all of you. And one of the things again, you always expect that there are good days and there are bad days. So you just prepare for it so that at the end of the day, when you have the bad days, you not come and be depressed and be saying, oh no. Yeah, basically, that was what I wanted to say about that. Did you
Okay.
ask
Thank
another
you
one?
very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, those were the only two questions.
Okay.
So we'll take the next question from Olanike. Olanike. I think her hand has been up for a while. Olanike. Olanike. Okay, Olanipete. You can ask your question.
Okay, you need to unmute her. You need to unmute her.
Okay. Let me try. Oh, I can't do it on my end. I don't know if you can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh,
Yes,
great.
yes,
All right.
we can hear
So
you.
thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. It's so interesting. I mean, I just saw the link now and I'm like, I believe this is just God ordained for me. So I joined in not too long ago, so I probably just missed a lot of your slides, Elizabeth. So I'm
Okay.
very grateful for this opportunity. But the short while that I met, I'm so glad. And so one of the things I had Elizabeth talking about was talk therapy. And for me, this is quite huge. I cannot also like overemphasize how helpful this is. So I would say I was, or maybe am, because it's also like a journey. It's not a destination, this postpartum depression. So when I had my first daughter as well, I remember that I went into severe depression, which I didn't know at the time. She's 13 now. And I didn't know while in the process of having her, the pregnancy was about 42 weeks, if not more. So that was even depressing already because I'd imagine, you can just imagine. So I think it's somebody was asking some questions around how to prevent it. So it's probably actually sometimes going back into the process because the depression had started for instance, for someone like me, it had started even pre birth of the
Before you had
baby.
the baby. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, so now I have actually gone into several I'd actually gone into several instances of um journey as a result of that. So right now as I'm speaking, I'm actually in my final year in UK doing
Yeah.
integrative counseling and psychotherapy as a result of so many things that I've encountered. And I can see again how psychotherapy is well accepted. Elizabeth was talking about talk therapy and she entered into like how effective it is in this part of the world. It's so like the environment encourages it. So one of the things that actually hinder us also from talking is the environment, our culture and all of that, where a child had learned from a child that, oh, you don't talk, you don't say everything.
Yeah.
And when people have also refused to understand, for me, the process that I was talking about, I had my child via it was a 50-50 chance with a little knowledge. I think somebody wrote something there on the chat now that it's even as a counselor that you can't take it away, even with the self-awareness that we have
Yeah.
as therapists, as health coaches, as life coaches, we can't take it away. So for somebody like me, I was hit. It was this process. So they induced me. It was serious. I was induced, and then I asked the doctor, I was asked, what are the chances of this induction leading to CS? That's like doubled, extremely double pain, physically, mentally, psychologically. So at the end of the day, thankfully, it didn't land in CS, which for some other people, they end up being caught at the same time, even though I had a lot of tear, so much, I was hitting my head in the process on the wall. So it was a lot of cycle. I was hitting, and the nurses, even though it was a private hospital, what they were saying was, Mashere, you will wound yourself. Stop shouting. This is night. Those were the things I was hearing. So for Fumilayo, that was asking question around. She had some question, and I think what I would say, okay, she was using the word hate, and when Elizabeth was talking, she also mentioned about one way or the other, the way we talk about that thing in a way that person will understand. I think coming from the angle of, your mother hates you. Because when I had my child, I didn't hate her, but I didn't want to see her. I didn't want to
Yeah.
carry her. But it wasn't hate for me. I know that, yes, this is my child, but if they gave me that baby then, I would smash that baby on the floor.
Yeah.
So when they brought the child with all that I've gone through, and they were like, "Oh, give her a baby," I said, "No, I don't want," because it wasn't me. What mother would not want to see her child? But at that point, that was so. If any medical personnel could pick something in that moment, they could have kept me a while longer and given me. So between that and say, she's fine, go home. Because I tell you, I went home 6 p.m. that day. And then I was, after a while, everybody went. And I was home and I was looking at the child from afar. What do I do with you now? So in that moment, and then they say, go to the hospital and talk. To whom? And those people that I'm talking to, what do they know? What will they give to me? Because also it's not their fault. What they don't have, they can't give.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. I cry because this thing it's very deep into the society. Yes, we all are here because of passion, but are we really, how much can we really do? Who can we really take this to that will really understand it so much that it will be easy for people to come out freely and say, look, I feel like hurting my baby, and nobody would judge them on Instagram. Please, I don't know what's going on with me. I want to throw my baby in the bath. And nobody will say, I ain't share your village people. It's something it's when I saw this and I'm like, wow, thank God. I just clicked on it and I'm like, 12. Today is 12. So I don't know, wherever we can take this from. It's what we are saying, what you are saying as a neighbor, what you are saying to your sister, what you are saying. And yes, Elizabeth was talking about setting realistic expectation. Everybody wants to get back to shape. Once I have my baby, sharp. But let's be calm. Let's be easy on ourselves as well. And taking it from wherever that person is. Yes, she can't touch her baby. That doesn't mean she's less of a mother. Let's take them from where they are in that journey, whatever that is for everyone. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, Olanike. Wow. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you. Okay, I think we need to take a question from a guy now. So we'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, and before that, I wanted to add, okay, he should ask his question first. Maybe it's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
Who is asking the question? Is it Bright?
Isaac.
Okay.
Yes, I am. So can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Just like Olanike has said, the most important thing I picked out there was take it slow, one step at a time.
Yeah.
Well, as a therapist, I've encountered situations like this where my clients are coming in and they don't want to see their babies. They don't want to look at their babies. They don't want to breastfeed their babies. They just want to isolate themselves. Yeah, it's not realistic. You understand? Because eventually you still have to feed your baby. You cannot run away from it for a very long time. You understand? I'm not here to ask a question, but I want to emphasize on the fact that male figures really play a vital role in these scenarios. You understand? Yeah, you see, the husbands of these women, they play a very vital role. To some extent, I think their roles are underestimated. You see, just like you said, Elizabeth, sometimes the woman will beat the child, sometimes the man will beat the child. All these things also help in bringing the lady back to shape. You understand? Bringing her emotions to balance. Yeah. You understand? Because postpartum depression is not a long-term thing. It's relative. Sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short, but most times it's usually short. You understand? So during those short periods, if the lady has a very strong support system, from her husband down to her family members, down to her neighbors, then yes, she would easily adjust. You get, just like Olanike was saying, I can actually feel the way, like the energy that is actually coming from her. Right? Your neighbors, your family members are saying, what will you do? Still hold the child. They are pushing the child to you. and you know that if this child come close to you, you will just maybe do something that everybody will be surprised, and you're like, just take the child away from me. And they're like, what? Where do you want us to take the child to? If your husband is in that scenario, he can actually take up the child. You understand? Hold the child for the meantime. You who can talk about it. Sure, you get. So that's basically what I'm talking about. Then also, um, the role of men also experiencing postpartum depression is also underemphasized. Men also experience this thing too,
Yeah.
you understand? Because according to the topic that we're talking about, it did not specify women.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
postpartum depression.
Yeah.
Men also experience postpartum depression because when you have your child for the first time, there's this anxiety that sets in. You
Yeah, yeah,
understand?
I understand.
Like what will I do now? What, like Olanike said, what am I going to do with you now? You get. So um it's very important that both the husband and the wife, both the family members, neighbors, support system, everybody should come together, find a way to balance. Nobody should pressure anybody. You understand? You don't know what she's going through. Physically, her shape is no longer the way it's supposed to be. You get. Her emotions are also spiking everywhere. So she needs time to herself. She has some ladies today, they lose appetite. They don't even want to eat.
Yeah.
She understand, and it's also harming their body. So if she has a very support system in form of a husband, it's easily going to like
Yeah.
balance up. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's basically what we talk about.
Thank you, Bright.
Thank you so
Okay,
much,
I'm
Mr.
happy he
Bright.
mentioned about the men to go through depression. That was what I wanted
Yes,
to say. Yeah, because
yeah,
we were talking about it with you guys. Remember, we said maybe because it's postpartum, a lot of guys didn't want to join. You get, but
yes,
it has been proven that 4% of men go through postpartum depression, and their depression goes to up to a year. So 4% at least they go through that postpartum depression, and it has a lot to do with the wife. She's the one that had the baby and everything, but it has a way of falling or affecting the man. So it's very
yeah,
important for the two partners to work together.
yeah. This is so okay. I think we'll take questions from Chinyere and then Taiwo Fabajo next. So we'll start with Chinyere first. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Okay.
Chinyere.
I want to find out about a woman going through postpartum depression due to excessive crying from the baby. Is there any special therapy such a woman can go through to help her come out of such depression?
Okay, so for it's all part of the reasons why women go through postpartum depression. So all you need to do is, okay, maybe she should, if I don't know if she has seen a doctor, she should see a therapist or go to the hospital. I don't know if she has been going for her postpartum care and all of that. They should find a way around that. So that excessive crying is still part of the reasons why people go through postpartum depression. You get, so it's just for her to go and at least see a doctor or the midwives, or I that should help. That should help because of course you cannot. There are babies that are naturally like that. They love to cry. They love to cry, and it has a way of, But one of the ways I would advise, sometimes if it's taking a toll on you, let someone just help you. It still boils down to finding support. Someone should help you hold the baby away from you if it's getting to you and all of that. So that's what I would say for that, about that. Sorry.
Okay, because I've already seen a doctor, and what they said that there are some babies
Oh,
that cry so much that very soon the baby will stop crying. It's
yeah,
just manage and cope and all that, but it's really
yeah,
affecting so much.
yeah.
I just
So
the
that's why
support
I said
system
maybe
will
you find
go a
someone
long
that
way
would
anyway.
always support you. Sorry, say that again. I'm sorry.
I just think a support system will be what will help the situation.
Yeah. Maybe if the baby is crying too much and it's getting to you, someone should just help you carry the baby just away, for a while. I'm sure the baby cannot cry all day now. Baby will later sleep, and all of that. So it's just for the support system, like you said.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So Taiwo Fabajo, you can ask your question. Taiwo Fabajo.
All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Thank you. I would like to know how can someone, having this crisis, how can such a person, such a person address or manage issue of external factor? What I mean by external factor is when you have family members who will not stop coming to wish you, felicitate with you and your family. I actually went through this when my wife gave birth, and it was very frightening and strange. Because I have not, seen such before. So, and I have a mother who, she is a popular person. She can go from Lagos to Abuja to see a friend's daughter who just gave birth, a friend who are really willing to replicate, you pay back this guest. So my wife gave birth, we stayed with her for our father for that period. And she kept having visitors who will not stop coming. They were asked for baby. So it disrupted my wife's sleeping pattern. So later she broke down and we had to go back to the hospital. Now, I kept wondering, how can I manage this? There would always, apparently, we had the first child. If there's going to be a second child, there is a likelihood that I will experience same, which I'm finding a way. But what is your advice? How do you think we can manage external factors in this area?
Okay, this one is not medically, if it's fine by you, you can. If she has her, I think one of the things for me, what I would do, I might send her to maybe like her mom and where she's more, or it's my house, it's my house. If they come, tell them she's sleeping. Let them understand that it's important for her and the baby to sleep, or I would say you just have to draw the line. That's the truth. I know with family sometimes it's difficult for us to draw the line, but when it comes to your wife's health, it's just to make them understand, make them understand that it's taking a toll on her health. Please, they should try and like help you, so that you can manage it better. But if I was the one, me, I'll maybe run to somewhere else where I know there will be less, at least for that 1 week. Let me gain my sanity, rest well, and all of that. And I know where you're coming from. I know for some cultures, you cannot stand up and talk to your family, but it's just, I think basically it's for people to be able to make people understand that this is how it should be. And you just need them to help you and support you with this. And it's not, you make them understand that it's just for a short while. Let her just rest for this short while, then they can start like trooping in, at least for after maybe a week or two, or let's say a week. A week is fine, safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Thank you
you,
very much.
Elizabeth.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay. Our question next is from Tuken.
Okay, that's Toyin. Let Toyin. That's Toyin.
So you can
Okay,
unmute yourself, Tuken,
good afternoon, everyone.
and ask your question.
Yeah, I've almost given up. You're even talking back because
Yeah,
my house has been up since forever.
she wants to ask.
Sorry, Toyin.
Okay,
No
when
vex.
when I raised
Sorry.
my hand, it was during when somebody was speaking about a woman that gave birth and she is experiencing paralysis on her neck or so, and she says she's not going to carry the baby. I just wanted to give an illustration, right? I'm a special need therapist, work with children that has a speech delay and maybe some behavioral issues, right? Now, I had an encounter with a woman. She's an owner of school, right? She said, or when she gave birth to her first child, that is her first daughter, she came out with one arm. The other arm was virtually not there. She was shocked. One, because she's this petty kind of person, life of the flexing, slay queen, and all of that. She was shocked, and she did not give birth to that child in Nigeria. She said when they brought the child to her, she screamed and she shouted that this is not her daughter. They should take her away. Now, this is where the talk therapy that this other lady was talking about. Thank God for her aunt that was there with her at the hospital at that time. She said something that reset her brain immediately. She said, that's what the way you carry your child, that is the way other persons are going to carry that child for you. In the sense that if you are avoiding this child now, automatically the energy, the vibe that you are giving this child, that is the same way other people are going to replicate. That is for people that does not have understanding of what is going on with her at that time, being a postpartum depression and all of that. Her own was way beyond because the child came out with a deformity. Do you get? So if one does not have a family member, despite that the auntie talked to her, she also had to go through psychological therapy. They had to, she and the husband had to go through a psychologist. They had to talk to them over and over. She said it took them a long time before their brain and their mind could now adjust and say, okay, this is actually my child. I need to start taking care of this child and all of that. The same thing goes to most parents that they give birth to children and their children came out with unexpectedly the way they did not expect. Some they give birth and their child is Down syndrome. What do you do? So this thing that we are talking about today, or this training that we are giving today, it goes a long way. We thank God for Assad for spreading this awareness, but people don't subscribe to things like this, but they because they feel that it's something they are aware of. So for that woman, I think she needs somebody, even if she cannot be able to afford a therapist or whatsoever, a close family member that has an understanding, if not a family member or a friend or the lady that is in this training. Now, if you know somebody that knows her, you can be able to tell them, okay, this is what you can do for her to help her to be able to carry that child. Because she said the woman has not been able to carry the child. She has to carry that child. She has to carry her, but she needs somebody to help her to do that. And for that man that just spoke now that said, family members trooping in and all of that. One of my friends gave birth. She has been believing God for a child for like almost 4 years. And eventually she had that child. She had it through CS, right? I'm a very close friend, oh, but do you know what she told me? When she told me she has given birth, I wanted to start running to her house to go and visit her. But she said that please, that she's not expecting any guests till in the next 2 weeks. She said it point blank. I felt somehow, but later on I understood. She said she needed to rest. The only person that was on ground then was the mom. So she had to even tell the mom that, well, I don't want any friend of your friend that say, oh, my child has given birth to, please come and visit. No, you need to tell your parents or the family member that is setting healthy boundaries. Tell them what you
Yeah.
want, and they will understand. They will not come and force your house. Ah, yes, they will talk. It will end. If they still want to come and visit after 2 weeks, after 3 weeks, it's fine for them to come. But family members need to understand this before an outsider. So when you tell them, then they will replicate it to the other persons that want to come and visit. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Wow, I've been so informed so far. I think one thing I've also learned from all of this is that everybody's journey is different, especially
Thank
when it comes to pregnancy. So at the end of the day, the way you deal with it, the way you handle it, it depends on how it goes for you. Our bodies are all different, and our bodies are not, they are not the same. But it's also very important that in the journey that we are going through, we have the right support system. We have that backing and people that would, pay attention to us and give us that support. Thank you so much for all the questions. I hope we've been able to answer all. Thank you to
Someone was
Elizabeth
asking
for,
us to run through the symptoms of depression again. I saw something like
okay,
that. And I saw someone to ask whether they're actually people that actually kill
okay.
their baby.
Okay, yeah, she
So
said you should repeat the symptoms of postpartum psychosis and Someone said, have you had someone who killed their baby? Do you
That's
have an instance where the baby was killed by the mother from this instance, from this
okay.
illness rather?
Okay, for psychosis, depression, it's pretty much every symptom of depression, the sleeplessness, um, um, not eating. It's either you're eating too much or you're eating too little, irritability, always crying. But for psychosis, you begin to hallucinate. You're beginning to act like you're not mentally okay. You're suicidal. You're even ready to harm your baby. You come to that place. We're talking about people. You come to that place that you're even thinking of harming your baby. And yes, there are people that have actually killed their babies. I don't have someone directly, but I have seen stories. I have seen, I've seen instances. There's a lady that I know. I suspect that. I don't want to say that she did that, but she said she was bathing the baby and the baby drowned in the bathtub. As in, I don't know how she did it, but I know she's someone that had a baby out of some kind of circumstances, and after a while, she just got up one day and told everybody that the baby drowned in the bathtub. And but I don't want to, conclude that maybe she harmed her baby or something. But there are instances of people that actually kill their babies. Haven't you seen people too that, as in, they don't kill one child though? Yesterday I was reading about someone that killed her two children, as in she shot them in the head. She killed her two children, as in small children. And it could be as a result of this postnatal depression or psychosis that wasn't treated. Also, it could be anything. It could be anything. I'm sure if they check her now, they might say, this one, she's not okay upstairs or anything. But it actually happens. There are some that end up killing themselves and leaving their babies. They'll kill themselves. So it's very possible. I don't know for the symptoms. I don't know if I didn't mention anyone, but basically the major ones is that feeling of you're suicidal. You want to even kill your baby. That means you're even ready to be a murderer, and hallucinations too. And there's some people that, in fact, I've seen people that have had babies and right from then they are not normal again. They are not normal for years, you get. And for most people, I think maybe they don't get to find out these things on time until when it's late.
Thank you so
So
much,
yeah.
Elizabeth. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you all for joining us. And if you also want to get more information about Assad, our social media handles will be in the chat box for Instagram, for Twitter, every social media platform. The links will be in the chat box. So, Elizabeth, will you do us the honor of the closing remarks?
Okay. Thank you to everyone for joining this afternoon. And we're sorry again for our speaker that was not able to join us. These things happen. You can just go out and someone steals it can be frustrating. I can imagine what she's going through right now. But I believe that we did justice to it. Hopefully we did justice to the topic. And thank you for being a part of this training this afternoon. And thank you for all your contributions, for people that contributed, for those that asked questions, for those that stayed up until this time. It was such a bit, I totally enjoyed it. I don't know about you. I totally enjoyed it because it was even a process for learning for me. And our support group team will be having another training. Toyin, what's the topic for your training and the date? Please let Toyin just tell us about the next training, and we urge you all to attend if you want to enjoy this beautiful experience again.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for the opportunity. So guys, my name is Toyin and I'm the team lead for the support group department. We'll be having our support group meeting next week, Saturday, and the theme is overcoming triggers of substance abuse. Right.
Wow.
Now, in our society today, we can see that the increase of people taking substance is getting on high, in the sense that people are now taking things to relieve them of this same stress, anxiety, depression, and troubles that they are going through, and they feel that, oh, taking substance, maybe like drinking too much, taking drugs, right, taking excess of medication, it will help them to overcome whatsoever thing that they are going through. And while some people, they have been in this state, taking a particular drug, and some of them have actually come out of it, but due to one thing or the other, they experience triggers, something that triggered them again to say, oh, okay,
Yeah.
let me just take this thing once, and before you know it, it's thing, taking that substance continues. So we'll be having a seasoned psychologist and a therapist that is well knowledgeable in this field, that is going to be taking us on this journey of overcoming triggers. So please, if you know somebody that is in this predicament, right, you can tell the person to join in for this program. It's next week Saturday by 10 a.m. The flyers and the link will be shared to us on our platform, all of our ASAT platform, and our social media links as well. So please follow us on all our social media platforms so that you will see where the post, and you also sign up to subscribe for this. So thank you very much. And if you are here, you are struggling with triggers of substance abuse, please don't be shy. You need to be completely healed. That is what the support group is all about. We give you total healing by God's grace. So sign up for this event, and you thank God for joining. So thank you very much, everyone.
All right, thank you, Toyin. You can hear the name of the department support group. And you know, one of the things I mentioned about it was the importance of having a support group, a support system, a support group. And the whole idea is for them to give you support in whatever you're going through. And it's a more close group meeting because, of course, where it's the confidentiality for our support group meetings is like up here. So make sure you register to be a part of it. And thank you all. And please don't forget, anytime you see a pregnant woman or anybody that just had a baby, ask her, how are you doing? Not how are you doing? How are you coping? Because it's not easy, man. And as much as possible, learn to support people that just had a baby or are going through pregnancy. And once again, thank you all for being here, and we hope to see you next time. This is a thank you from us at ASAD and from my team, the mental health training department. Thank you guys for being here to make this happen. And everyone, just have a nice week.
Feedback form as well.
Yeah.
Our feedback form is in the chat box.
It's in the chat box. Please just let us know how we did, what we need to add, what we need to, improve on, and all of that. Thank you. That will be all for now.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye. Bye.